how's things going out there in YouTube land? I'm in the car again. Got to run some errands. And I was just thinking, take that however you will. It's maybe good, maybe bad, I don't know. But I was thinking about all of the government interference. And I'm sure that a lot of people get tired of hearing this. And I don't really have anything new. I'm just thinking about some of the things that's already going on. On the gun front. Now, if you don't like guns, that's okay. You might want to stop watching this video here. But maybe you ought to stick around for a little bit. The newest thing from the federal government is the pistol brace thing. And if you don't know, I know in the AR-15, which by the way stands for Armalite Rifle 15, not assault rifle, not automatic rifle, because it is not automatic. It's an auto loader, but it's not an auto shooter. It automatically loads around, but it will not shoot it without another trigger pull. But anyway, enough on that. If you're watching this channel, you probably already had an idea about that. So, they make a pistol, or what they call a pistol. And they come, because of the way the AR platform is built, they have a buffer tube, and it's got a spring in there, and I can't describe it all, what all's there, but it sticks out behind the receiver and the pistol grip. Now usually it's just a tube that sticks out back there and looks pretty dorky. But they offer what they call a brace back there. And it comes with it got a clamp kind of like that to go over your forearm, and it just helps you to brace it. Now they're all bent out of shape because it's illegal to have a short-barreled rifle, and they claim, the ATF claims that when you put a stock on it, that makes it a short-barreled rifle, which is illegal, which I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. But anyway, I mean, they put rifle caliber cartridges in pistols all the time, and vice versa. But there's this, I don't know. Everything with the gun laws is pretty arbitrary. But anyway, sticking to this pistol brace. And it can be used as a stock that you put against your shoulder, which I guess is the ATF description of a stock. Well, then that will give you 3 points of contact with it. I don't know, for some reason. That will make it a little more accurate. But that apparently that little bit of plastic makes it more dangerous. I don't see how. I don't see the problem with a short-barreled rifle either. I mean, but who knows why the government really does anything. So they've made that illegal, and that just don't make sense to me. And then you got the state of Illinois. Woo, that's a mess. If y'all aren't familiar with that little deal, the I'm going to assume here, because I haven't followed it that closely, but I'm going to assume that the state legislature was involved. It should have been anyway. Well, the governor signed into law that you can't have an assault weapon. And you can't have magazines that hold more than, I don't know what their arbitrary number is, but, and there's no grandfathering in, nothing. It's just illegal. Well, the last I saw, about 80% of the county sheriffs in the state of Illinois said, yeah, we don't care if it's a law or not. It's not one we're going to enforce. Which, you know, the only way to enforce a law like that is to go to door and search everyone's home to make sure they don't have, you know, an AR or an AK. And that's the only way to truly enforce that law. I mean, you know, there are still out there, I'm sure, some fully automatic weapons, you know, that somebody's grandpa brought home as a war trophy from World War II. And there's probably some others out there that just fell through the cracks. And, you know, those aren't the ones out there killing people. So, and besides that, people kill people. You know, a gun can't do it on its own. You know, you can take a fully loaded weapon, lay it on a table with the safety off, and it will not kill anybody. It won't even fire. But a lot of people don't understand that. And I don't know, there's a lot of different facets to the whole gun control thing, and most people are just uneducated, you know. So, and I don't want this to be a complete gun rant, but none of these laws make sense. I mean, they make sense to some people because they're doing something. Yeah, that'll stop this violence. Okay, we don't even know, the government does not know how many guns are in the country. They don't have a clue. And I have heard anywhere from 300 million guns to 650 million guns. I've heard and things in between there thrown about. They don't even know. I mean, that's a big discrepancy between 300 million and 650 million. I mean, that's 150 million guns. They don't know whether they even exist or not. So this whole gun control thing, it's just to make some politicians feel good and some people feel good. Oh yeah, ban them scary looking black rifles and assault rifles, which is not a term used in the weapons industry. They don't use it. They never have. Made up term. Because anything can become an assault weapon. You know, doctors kill more people than guns do. Okay? Just go look it up. Trust me, I am not pro-criminal. I am pro-rights. And that one was granted to us, you know, in the Constitution. Anyway, there's a couple things there on the gun side of things. And we've got the USDA I don't know what they're doing. And the FDA. And why is there two different groups overseeing food? I don't get it. And I've asked this question before. Does anyone watching this video know of any recalls from, say, a farmer selling at a farmer's market, or you go out to a U-Picket place? Has there ever been any recalls where anybody's gotten sick and the FDA or USDA had to step in and say, oh, look, you can't buy anything from there? No. Every time you hear of a recall, it's in a huge corporation. And, or off of some huge farm. There's been some instances in California of, I think, lettuce being what's the word I'm looking for? Say exposed to I believe it was E. coli, but it was because of the wild pig population they had. It was, running through, dumping in the lettuce. And I'm guessing the lettuce wasn't being cleaned very well. So, but anyway, it's always these huge businesses. You hardly ever hear of a small business that has an issue. Okay, and I got something about eggs I want to talk about. And if you haven't heard this, it might make you laugh. Then again, it might not. So I'll talk about that when I come back. Alrighty, I'm back. Yeah. Okay. Now, this next topic's pretty interesting. We all know how expensive eggs are getting. I just checked. I was just in at the old Wally World, and eggs are over $5 a dozen for just the plain old white large eggs. It's crazy. But the government's who's to blame for that. Because they killed something like 48, or had killed. They didn't do it themselves. They forced people to do it for them, as in the owners of the chickens. But anyway, that's why your eggs are so high. They killed something like 48 million birds, chickens, laying hens. So, eggs are crazy high. But anyway, I was reading where they are catching people smuggling eggs across the U.S.-Mexico border into the United States. Really? I mean, smuggling eggs? That is crazy. But that's where we're at. I don't know, people. That's just crazy to me. And it's a bad sign that eggs are worth enough for people to risk their freedom and their life to smuggle them into the United States. It's just crazy. honestly, here's my opinion, being someone that's raised chickens, not on that scale, but that in a year or so, egg production will be back up, maybe. Because I'm just thinking in terms of replacing those hens, those laying hens. And it takes, let me see, what is it, about a little over 22 weeks. I think that's the expected average for a chicken to start laying. 22 weeks of age, and then they start laying, and they ramp up till they peak. The last I heard is a chicken can lay one egg every 25 hours. So, there you go. But they killed all those, so those who could afford to, and I'm sure that these big companies, the companies never take a hit on this crap, but these big egg farms have insurance for things like that anymore, which just, anyway. But if it's anything like my experience with insurance companies, they don't pay for the full price. I'm sure these big operations have a resource so that they can buy their laying hens, because I'm sure what they do is you have a hatchery that hatches them out and then probably ships them off within a couple of days to a grow out operation, and then they grow them up to point of lay, and then they ship them to a farmer somewhere, an egg farmer or an egg farm, however you want to say that. And I know that right now in this area, southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, I'm seeing laying hens at point of lay and I've seen them between $10 and $15 a piece. Now, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't cost these big operations that much. And I guess you think about it. I mean, I like to buy day-old chicks, and my preferred hatchery to buy my chicks from is Cackle Hatchery, Lebanon, Missouri. They do not pay me for that. I have to buy my chicks. Baby chickens. We're not going to get into the other use of that name. But anyway, or that word. Anyway, back on track here. So, and I've just been pricing because I wanted to buy some this spring, or want to. And it looks like for what I want, it's going to cost me about $3 a piece. Or it'll be a little over $3 a piece by the time they get them here. You pay for the shipping, and so yeah. So it's about $3 a piece for a baby chick. Of course, that's I'm looking at buying 20, and they have different levels. The more you buy, the cheaper they are. And that's a sexed. That's a Garrett. They're almost 95% sure that it's a pullet, which is the girl chicken that hasn't started laying yet. Now, roosters, you can get them pretty cheap, but I'm not interested in roosters. I got one, and until Rhonda kills him, we're probably not going to get any more, unless somebody gives me some that I can just turn out in with Butch over there. Let them help spread his manure a little better. But anyway, so, that gives you an idea of the cost of all this. And like I said, I'm sure that, these people that are buying thousands of chickens, they're not paying that much per chicken just because they're buying so many. But these baby chicks, they go from the hatchery to a grow out facility and into the egg farm. If I've already said that and I'm being repetitive, I'm sorry. So, most of the flocks were destroyed in October, November time frame, maybe as early as September. So by now they should be getting about to point of lay. Of course, like I said, a lot of this is going to depend on, I don't know much about the egg industry itself, but I assume it's like the rest of the poultry industry. They have independent contractors that take care of the laying chickens. And then they're paid so much per egg or whatever. And it's probably based on a weight thing, but anyway. Something for me to research. But that the actual farmer isn't getting a lot of money on this. But anyway, my point is, unless we've had a lot of farmers just say, no, I'm done with this, I'm going to go work in a factory, it's easier, it's less stressful, I won't enjoy it as much, but can't keep this up. Their margins are probably small, and a chicken lays its best from point of lay. It's got about a year that it's at its peak, and then they're usually shipped out, and that's what makes your chicken soups, probably chicken nuggets and such like that. So, yeah, this country's not very farmer friendly anymore, and that's what built this country as farmers. Now the industrialists, when they came along, they made us wealthy, so to speak, compared to the rest of the world. You think about it, take the poorest in this country, and they've usually got a cell phone anymore. Even homeless people have cell phones. Not all of them, but enough. And then you look at the poorest the poorest of the poor in the rest of the world, and they don't have nothing. So, I've always, and I know the answer to this to a point, I've always wondered why these other countries have not done like the United States has done. And it's partially due to the freedom that was allowed in this country. A person could come over here, and there's story after story after story of people who have done this. They come here with nothing, or they're born with nothing. They're born into poor families, and and through hard work and perseverance and being smart, making the right choices, they get wealthy. And I can guarantee you the reason I'm not wealthy is because I didn't make the right choices. So, and I'm pretty sure that applies to all of us. But that's why these other countries, take China for instance, and they're late, but they're controlled by the government. They probably don't get the best work out of their people because they don't pay them. They don't give them the opportunity to grow and build their own personal wealth. Whereas here, up until the last, I don't know, dare I say 50 years, because it's just been getting harder and harder, and the government makes it harder and harder. And like I said, if you want to understand all of this, read Ayn Rand. And I found out just recently, I watched an interview with her, and that's how you pronounce her names, Ayn Rand. So, but read her book, Atlas Shrugged. And, probably the book, The Fountainhead, as well. I have not read that book. I did see that movie. They did make a couple of movies about Atlas Shrugged, but her book was set in the early 1900s to mid 1900s, let's say. And they tried to modernize, and it just didn't work too well. They just didn't have the right people doing it. But anyway, there is a movie out there about it. But the book is way better. It's just huge. It's a huge book. But it explains kind of how we got here. It's more and more government interference. It's crazy. But check it out. Alright, well, I've rambled on enough. Go ahead and wrap this up. I may throw some pig video on here. Update on the combatants from yesterday, Deuce and Buddy. Deuce has remained so far today, it being 2:15 in the afternoon, he has remained in his own pen today. I'm sure they're both a little stiff and sore. Like I said, they got some pretty good gouges on them. So, all right. Remember, let's look out for each other. Let's help each other whenever we can. And let's pray. And that's the most important part. Catch y'all later.